Good morning, everyone. So, day 185 of the Golden Globe, and it's the 9th of March already. A few things going on. Kirsten's facing the wrong way, and I'm not sure why on the tracker. Abolish is holding hard to windward, so is Simon chasing Abolish. And Goog's getting a bit mixed up in some strange weather for him. Jeremy's just gone under or gone through the first front, which seemed to intensify in the 12 hours just before it got to him. So you got a fair bit of breeze. We'll talk about that in a minute. And Ian Herbert Jones is starting to enter the real Southern Ocean at last. So that's kind of fun. So Jeremy actually lost his Dodger last night, got smashed in a big wave. He's hove to, which is an interesting subject in itself. I hate it when hove to. You got to remember that when RA hove to on the same boat in 35 knots of wind and 3 to 4 meter seas, he was rolled over. And so, but Jeremy's got a very legitimate reason to hove to, because he doesn't want to make progress to the east, because it's starting to squeeze up against the coast there. He's got to head down towards Cape Horn. So if there was ever an occasion to hove to, now's the time to do it. So we'll keep our fingers crossed for Jeremy and talk about that in a minute. The other one is Kirsten's bowsprit. Bit of discussion going on there. It was in a SoundCloud. The end fitting of the bowsprit is starting to droop. When we looked at the photos that were shot when we had Kirsten through Hobart, we noticed that fitting had actually started to droop. It was only a few millimetres. And we discussed it at length whether we thought it was dangerous, and at the time we didn't. We didn't consider it to be a problem. And in fact, when we look back at some photos in La Sable d'Olonne here, it was a bit hard to define, but we think it may have actually already have been, sort of an indicator that was going on. So, and everything there, the fittings are so big and the bobstay so powerful and all the rest of it, we didn't think it should progress anymore. We didn't alert Kirsten to the fact because we didn't consider it to be an issue. And as the organiser, we don't get involved with offering technical assistance and advice using the satellite phone and all those sorts of issues. So there's lots of things there. But we weren't concerned. It was just a fact of life and could have been there for a long time. Seems like Kirsten's just seen it right now. And again, we can't say anything because that's her role, maintaining the boat and looking after it. And the way she described it to me last night or yesterday afternoon, was that it was a few millimetres, and it sounded exactly the same as what we saw in Hobart. So anyway, we put the photo up again on the discussion in the comments of the SoundCloud recording. So I want to have a look at that. Anyway, back to the tracker now, and let's talk about what's going on here. We'll start at the back end of the fleet, and certainly Ian's getting a taste of what is about to get a taste of what the real Southern Ocean is. Jeremy's been having it for a week or more now, and you can see it's rolled over to the 8 o'clock positions now. He's actually come up a little bit on course, which is sort of a good thing. He is getting squeezed, as I said, into the corner here, which he doesn't want to do. Still doing 2.3 knots. So whilst he's headed that way, he's not heading that way in a hurry, and he's more or less holding his own in terms of going south. And the discussion will be when he can actually turn the corner and start heading down to get under Cape Horn, because there's a couple of little fronts coming through. One of them's quite severe, which I'll explain in a minute. And he's got until about the 15th to get around, which should be just enough time. So this is the next one that's coming, and you'll see as it moves across, it starts to intensify. And I'll show you that on Windy probably as well. But we'll just roll this through now. We didn't talk about Ian. Ian's doing 5.7 knots, pretty much on course, right on the run line. Did 127 nautical miles in the day. So, on his way and looking pretty good. And he's going to slot in behind this bigger front coming through now. So I just toggle it through. You can see as it's coming across, you can see more of the blue coming in there. And it's starting to intensify. Jeremy's just going to run along the top of it. You can see there, he's still going to impact it, but as it comes there, that's about, you see there, he's just over the top of it. I'll just build it up to give you an impression of Jeremy. He's just clipping. If I go back one or two, I've got to hit that. You'll see on this one, he's just clipping the top of it. Right. And so he's a lot better up there than if he had been down here. And then it drops off pretty quickly. But the sea state, which is going to be forecasting sort of 7-8 meters, so it could be 9-10 meters, will hold, but the wind will back off pretty quick. Now, when it gets to about this point, which is going to be 6 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock, I doubt whether he would alter course during the night. Probably not. But as soon as it's first light there, that's when he'll bolt and start to head down towards Cape Horn. So he's still got to get through another 24 hours of all this rubbish, and hopefully he'll be okay. He should be. The boat's all good, and he's well prepared, and he knows what he's doing. So that's kind of cool. What I'll do now is I'll just got to come back here. I'll just show you this one that the reason he's going to be in a hurry to get around. Boom, boom. It's this one here. This is the windy indication on the 15th. And here's Cape Horn, and you can see, 80 over 80 knot gust forecast for this one. It's a big one. Not so big geographically. I mean, it's got a lot of impact, but it's very intense. So this is the wind strength. So you can see it's only forecasting 40, 50 knots, 40, sort of around 40 knots of forecast wind. The reason the gusts are so high is it's getting squashed up against the coast and it gets very unstable. So normally you say the gusts are going to be, 20%, 25% forecast wind, over that, but this one's going to be a big one. And so this is about midday on the 15th, but he should be around late on the 14th. And if we progress this forward, you'll see it actually doesn't turn the corner. So as long as he's around the corner by then, it'll be fine. So he'll have his own little race for that. That's the reason for the rush to get around. So we should go back here. Okay, and I go back there. So let's just wait and see. But it's all a westerly. It's going northwest into west. So he should be right for that, and he'll be keen to start heading down. And I'd say that we're going to see that probably about tomorrow lunchtime, our time here in Europe. Okay, so Ian, through all of that, you'll see he's either got some strong winds or very simple winds, so Ian's not going to be stressed with that at all. So that's kind of nice. So back to real-time weather here, and we'll look at Simon and Gug, who you can see Michael there is really caught up in some mixed-up weather. He's a bit all over the place. If we build that up, he's got another busy time where conditions are changing all the time because of this sort of unstable bit. He's got it from all sorts of directions. So, yes, he's doing 4.5 knots, but he's only made 45 nautical miles on the run line because it's all over the place. So he's, he'll be enjoying things because let's have a look at the sun, actually. The sun could be shining. Where's the clouds? Not too bad. Jeepers, there's a fair bit of water there. He might have got some of that, but in fact, it could still be coming. Maybe let's have a quick look here. No, it's going away from him. So, but someone got someone. Oh no, it was there. But anyway, okay, back to the breeze. So he might be getting some sleep. Maybe we're not sure. Okay. So and Simon here holding hard to weather, no doubt about that. But he's still doing 6.5 knots. So that means he wouldn't be going to windward in any sort of seaway at 6.5, so he's cracked off a bit. So the breeze might have a little bit more of a nor'wester in it than it's showing on this graphic. But going forward now, let's just bounce this forward a bit and see what's happening. So the nor'wester holds, and for Gug, he's got about 6 or 7 hours, and then he's going to get a southwesterly, and then that southwesterly is going to go light and catch up to Simon. He definitely went northwest there, so he'll be continuing to go out to the northeast, sort of following a little bit where Kirsten went. Simon knows that anytime you can get north without getting pinned to the coast, it's an advantage. And as I expected yesterday, he tacked across onto Port Tack. So the next day or so there, that's coming into that's 24 hours here on Gug. Next 24 hours, going light, but generally a favourable breeze, either from behind or from on the port beam. So not too bad, but certainly going light, a little bit soft. So what's happening up here? There's some interesting stuff. Oh, that explains it. Okay. I couldn't work out for the life of me why Kirsten had gone over and was heading in a northwesterly direction, because the wind was showing the opposite, but it's actually now starting to make sense. So just as Abelish here is on Port Tack, if you look at Abelish, he's doing 4.5 knots. He did 95 nautical miles in the day, and he's hard on the nose. When you see 4.5 knots with the sort of wind he's got, it's because he's hard on and doing what the rustlers do pretty well, going to windward on starboard tack. You can't go across to port tack because it's a losing tack. Basically going too far out to the east. But at some point, he's going to have to do that. We discussed that yesterday in the press release, which you probably read about. So he's got a bit more of this sort of northeasterly breeze that he has to put up with, and then work out what he does with it. At the moment, Kirsten flopped over. It's gone quiet. She's only doing 3.3 knots, and she's got the start of the trades, but it's coming in at a northeasterly or even an east northeasterly. So she's just making it normally. But you can see in this situation, if that weather was to hold like that, because it's got to where she is now, it's absolutely northeast, right? If I blew that up, you'll see it. She's absolutely got a northeaster where she is, because you can see down here it's a northerly. So fortunately, she's just high enough. Hopefully she can hang on to this and get up, because it's just wasting time against Abelish. Just get up there, because when you're up here, it's an easterly, which means she can straighten up the course and head straight up again. So she's right on this transition course through the center of this high here. So that's what's driving it, and she's nearly there, but not quite there. She needs to get up a little bit higher, and then it'll become a more of an easterly. But the problem is now this one's going to go over to the east, and so we'll see what happens. But she might be struggling a bit. It might. Oh, I forgot to come back to real-time weather. Sorry, forget everything I just said. I thought, why did that change so rapidly? How did that? Okay, here's why. So it's all got to do with light weather here. For Kirsten, but it still was a strange move, because she altered across to northwest when the wind was coming from the east. So normally I'd expect her to go north, but as I've said many times, it's hard to predict what's going on here. Boy, sorry about not coming back to real-time weather. Anyway, that makes sense. She's got light winds, just making the most of it, not covering a lot of ground, and Abelish has got heavier winds, but going to windward. He's probably got 15 to 18 knots there, maybe, and that's going to windward in 15. It'd be wet, water all over the boat, and very bouncy probably. Okay, so we'll come back now and we'll see how the weather progresses. So for the moment, Kirsten has a favourable wind direction. She's in the trades. There's southeast or going easterly, and Abelish is still in the transition from the north, where the trades hook around and come down. So now we'll toggle this through and see what happens. So we've got this. I'm going to come back one, because this is what's going to drive all of this weather here. This is the center of this system directly below Kirsten. Kirsten needs to get north in a hurry to hold on to that easterly, and she's still going up north. So this is about 12 hours or so. That's 12 hours. So she's going to be making 4 knots. Four knots. So it's a bit soft, a bit hard to say. So that's 24 hours. Okay, so that's a good thing. So in 24 hours, Abelish will still be plugging along to windward, and I'd say Kirsten may do not that far. She may do 100 miles. Let's say 90 miles. So there's not a lot in it. So if she does 90 miles, she's still going to be in an easterly. So she's still got that easterly, which is a good thing. And Abelish has still got headwinds. So he's still got, they're both doing the same thing. So the next 12 hours, it's going soft, and it's just starting to turn for Kirsten. She might just hold it because she's going to be up about here, but Abelish has run out of breeze big time. He'll slow down, but Kirsten should still be sailing at 4 knots going north at that point. So then we come into, this is now 48 hours ahead, and it's just starting to turn here. So Kirsten could be, let's say she's 180 miles ahead. Oh, that's okay. So 160, 70. She should be up here. Now, there's a dramatic difference you can see. Up here, the wind is easterly, which she wants to hang on to go north. She should make 2 90-mile days maybe, or it could be back here, but she's still got an easterly. So I think she's still going to hang on to it. And Abelish is going light, but the wind direction is still the same all the time. So we'll just keep tugging that through for day 3. Abelish's got light headwinds, really light ones. He might flop across there. It's getting a little bit northerly. In the stuff, you might see him come across this way a little bit. And Kirsten's going to be up here with light easterlies drifting. So, and if we pan back now, because that's day 3, it's getting a bit hard to predict. she'll be up around here somewhere. She's certainly, you can see Abolish is still in this transition. He's still underneath it, but Kirsten will be up here just about ready to reach these trades. So fingers crossed. That's about as much as I can explain for now. So we'll look forward to another day to... press the jeepers. Look forward to another interesting day tomorrow, and hope you're having a good day and looking forward to the weekend. Something's going wrong here. Fresh in the press. Oh, that's just got a fresh from the press from Lutz. That's Abolish.
No, Ian's mainsail ripped.
Oh, Ian's mainsail's ripped. Okay, you just passed me a note. So it's Ian's mainsail ripped. That's all we know. It's on the tweets. So we'll keep our fingers crossed for that one. It's had a bit of breeze, but not too much breeze. So there you go. Always something happening. We'll see you all again tomorrow. Thanks.